Back when right on meant you stood for something and brothers marched with purpose in they step. A young Harold Bell picked up a mic and said, if truth got a home, I'm gonna broadcast it. From the 65 to right now, he ran a lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stayed same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG day to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Back in 65, the block still said dig it. Petey Green on the airwaves, the realest to kick it. Harold slid through like Bet, took notes, stayed vivid. When the hood had pain, he said somebody got a bridge. In 71, he turned the knob inside sports on the map. No cap, first black host doing play-by-play facts. Radio crackling, community tap in. If a lie hit the streets, Harold Bell started scrapping. Say it loud, era. Folks fought to be seen. Harold fought for the ones overlooked in between. Players, kids, legends, the future unseen. He put the whole DMV on his team. Right now, he ran a lane. Voice of the city, heart of the game. Decade changed, but the message stays same. Harold Bell put respect on his name. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. Yeah, fast forward. 80s crack the pavement, DMV slang, shit for vibe in the basement, go-go drums knocking, what's good? Round the way, hell still holding down the youth every day. Well, talk shows turn spooky, he stayed solid, didn't chase clicks, didn't fold for $1. He had Jim Brown pull up, Ollie on the line, sports radio, man, he redefined. By the 90s, folks, your facts before it was a trend. Harold been fact-checking them way back then. Gatekeepers hated him, he ain't been. Told Earl Lloyd's story to the hall, let him in. Keep it 100. He kept it 1,000. Long before social media started wildin'. When most shows played it safe about race, Harold Bell said names to they face.
Hey, man, thank you so much, Shannon, for that introduction. You know, I'm Harold Bell, and I'm your host for the second chapter of the original Inside Sports, coming to you from the Inside Sports Legacy Network. Now, I got a young man that's my co-host. He was born here in the DMV. He is a media strategist, creator of everything DMV radio. Okay? He is one of the brightest young minds that I've come across that uses sports, music, and storytelling to reach the next generation. And boy, do we need that. He is a builder, a connector, and a man on a mission to make sure our history, our athletes, and our communities get the spotlight that they deserve. Family, I would like for you to welcome my co-host and executive producer, Shannon Roundtree, better known as DJ Big Bach. Hey, big boy, happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays to you, man. Hey, Harold Bell, what's happening? The legend.
How was Santa Claus? How was Santa Claus?
Man, he was nice to me.
That's great. He was great. He was great to me, too, because he woke me up on Christmas morning. You can't ask for anything better than that, man. You know, Shannon, we get ready to head into the new year, 2026, man.
2026.
2026. And for our community, as we head into 2026, man, we keep making the same mistakes over and over again. You know, we always talk about the Asians and the Jews, and now the Hispanics have moved ahead of us. You understand? Yeah. They have moved ahead of us. What is happening that we can't get our act together and reach back and help each other and stop being so selfish? That's what's happening, Shannon.
Yeah, it is, man, and it's crazy that it's like that, because we've had so many examples through time to show us how to unify, how to be supportive to each other, and how to move forward with, you know, things that have happened, you know, in the past. So I don't know why the trend continues, but I don't know what can we do about that, HB? Because it's hard to, you know, continue the same process without any, you know, growth or unity or teamwork as a, you know, as a race.
Yeah, well, Shannon, I'm on the way out. and you're on the way in.
We need you.
we need you guys, you young people, to step up. Well, you know, I thought about the theme for today's show, and it's titled "Handling Success and Not Allowing Success to Handle Us." Man, that's the key. And you know, you say, "Well, Harold, how did you come up with this title for today's show?" Would you believe listening to an interview with boxing promoter Don King 30 years ago, man? And I went through my archives. I'm always looking through my archives to see what I want to talk about on the show. And I heard this interview that I did with Don King, and how this brother laid it out. You know, Don King, man, when Don King was serving time for murder in prison, he spent most of his time in the prison library, Shannon. And he was looking up the most difficult words he could find that would make him sound intelligent. You know, he was a two-bit crook, you know, hustler in Cleveland. He's trying to figure out, how can I improve my image? When I get out there, everybody gonna be looking at me as a murderer, but I want to be seen as something else. So he started looking up all these difficult words in the prison library, man. Now, when we voice opposition to the way blacks are treated, when we as black folks, when we as black men or black women offer, you know, opposition to the way we're being treated, we are often accused of using the race card. We are often accused of using the race card. Well, guess what? We didn't invent the race card.
No, sir.
We didn't invent the race card. We cannot blame Donald Trump and white folks for all the ills in Black America, man.
Nope.
We were forewarned. I'm telling you right out there now. In my time, Shannon wasn't born yet.
Nope.
I was forewarned, you know, and I can remember who forewarned me and the black community and Black America. And what really happened, man, was, you know, in 1968, man, I remember, I was out there doing the riots, man, in the streets. I was in the streets for 3 days and 3 nights as a roving leader. I was given a police badge by Tillman O'Brien, who was the highest ranking black official in the DC Police Department.
Wow.
Yeah, when the riots broke out, I know exactly where I was on that April 4th day, Shannon. I was standing on the corner of 9th and U Street with Willie Wood, who was the great player for the Green Bay Packers. And Willie Wood was my co-worker at that time with the DC Recreation Department as a roving leader.
Wow.
You said, Harold, well, what was a pro football player coming?
Going out,
yeah, what was he doing as a roving leader, man? Well, they weren't making this kind of money that these guys are making today. So Willie had to come home and get a second job as a teacher or with the DC Recreation Department. And the roving leader was an ideal program for him. And I knew Willie was like one of my heroes growing up, you know.
Yeah.
My brother played baseball with Willie at Armstrong High School. My brother was the shortstop and Willie Wood was the second baseman. So when I graduated from middle school, man, he said, man, come on up to Armstrong. My brother was living with my grandmother. He wasn't living with me and my brother Earl in the project in Parkside. So I said, well, yeah, let me go up to Armstrong, man. I said, Willie Wood, and my brother's already there. Well, I got up there and went out for football practice, and I saw the football coach with this big paddle. And boy, when you make a mistake, he will wear them out on the back. I said, man, let me out of here. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, right. Old school.
So Shannon, I'm walking back down to the bus stop on Florida Avenue, and Willie Wood see me. He said, hey, little Bell, where you going? I said, I got to go home. I got a headache. Man, I couldn't wait to get the spin gone. But You know, that
Wow.
that was the real deal, man. And
I see.
that's how Willie Wood and I became great friends. And he was with me when the riots broke out in 1968. It was a beautiful, beautiful sunshiny day. We were standing out on the corner. We had just had lunch at a place called Chez Maurice, which was a hangout for the in crowd, you know. And we were just standing on the corner enjoying the day. And all of a sudden, my man Harvey Cooper came by in a car, and he hollered out the window, "Hey, Harold, they just shot Dr. King in Memphis, Tennessee." Willie looked at me. I looked at him. I said, "Oh, man, we got problems." He said, "Yeah, we had big problems." And as this time, people are coming out of the restaurant where we had just eaten. Ladies were crying and stuff, man. And they saying he was dead. So I said, yeah, man. So what Willie said, man, we gotta find out, call up to the office, find out what we should be doing. And at that time, as we walking back down U Street, Shannon, Judge, he was the first modern day U.S. Marshal named Luke C. Moore. First, after Frederick Douglass was the first Black U.S. Marshal, Judge Luke Moore followed in his footsteps and became the second Black U.S. Marshal. And Judge and Luke Moore was friends to Willie and I, and so he joined us arm in arm walking back down to Ben's Chili Bowl. And when we got down there, Ben and several other residents were standing in front of Ben's Chili Bowl. Well, Luke said, "Let me go over here and see what's happening, Harold. I'll be right back." So he went over, he spent a few minutes, he came back to us. He said, they got to shut down. They got orders by the police department to shut everything down. So Willie said, "Let me go make a phone." U.S. Marshal Luke Moore said, "Let me go make a phone call." So in that time, Willie and I checked up to the D.C. Recreation Department, found out what we should do. And that's when I found out that Tillman O'Brien, the assistant chief, had called me down to the precinct. He was me down to the precinct. So Willie went one direction, I went in another, Judge Moore went in another. And I go down to the precinct, and I tell the sergeant at the desk, "Well, Tillman O'Brien, Mr. Bell, yeah, he's waiting for you downstairs." I went downstairs, and there were all these cops in riot gear, man. They got their rifles and everything. And Tillman sees me and said, "Harold, come over here, Harold." You know what he does, Shannon? He swears me in as a D.C. Police Department officer. Gives me a badge. I said, "Hold it, Chief, what's this?" He said, "Man, we need you out there on the streets." I said, "Chief, where's the gun?" "Now, where's my gun?" He said, "Harold, I can't give you no gun."
Oh my God.
He said, "Everybody knows you. You'll be all right." I said, "Chief, I ain't worried about my people. I'm scared of one of these white cops shooting me as a looter."
Yeah.
These bullets ain't got no name. You understand?
Yeah.
So he said, "Oh, you going out there. You'll be all right, man. Go ahead on out there." I spent 2 days and 3 nights on the streets from the 14th Street corridor to Minnesota Avenue. And I used that police badge to get me through the military and police barricades where I could move around and say, man, I was scared to death.
Oh my gosh.
Man. So
that's amazing though, man.
Yeah, man. It was.
You were front line. You were right there, man.
Front line, man. And I became friends with a brother that was an undercover FBI agent. And he and I kind of hung together, you know, kind of looking out for each other. And I was so bad when that 3 days, I couldn't wait to get that badge back to Tillman O'Brien. Take this thing. So what happened, man, as we were on, Lyndon Johnson was the president at the time. And we had the riots, man, and we were very fortunate. We lost several people here in the Washington, D.C. area. But Lyndon Johnson formed this commission called the Kerner Commission. And they were to look into why were all these disturbances and riots going on around the country in our urban cities. So you know what happened? That committee sat down, and you know what they came back and said, Shannon?
What they say?
They say, we are headed for 2 different societies, one black and one white. we were forewarned. White folks, these are white folks that are telling us, man. These are white folks telling us that we're headed for two different societies. Well, you know what we did, Shannon? A lot of people thought they did something, but we did absolutely nothing but sit on our behind and not take advantage of what we were just told. And Lyndon Johnson and them and that, they did absolutely nothing. They made no improvements, man. And so it got worse. But we didn't help ourselves, man. And that's what bothers me the most, man, is that, you know,
we knew,
man. And then, you know, years later, man, this is the best example. In 1990, that connection I made with that FBI guy doing the ride, we stayed friends. And so one day we had lunch, man, and he said, Harold, I need for you to tell your buddy, your friend, Murray Burry, that the feds are coming after him. He said, I'm gonna leave that up to you. So what I did, Shannon, I went up to a place called Faces Restaurant on Georgia Avenue. This is where all the in crowd and the politicians and the hustlers and those people who want to be somebody, this is where they hung out. This is where Murray hung out. So I went up there one evening, and there was his driver, a DC cop sitting in the car. Me and him were all right. So I went over to Stays, William Stays, that's the Stays. Will you go in there and get Murray for me and tell him I need to holler at him? No problem, Harold. He went in, Murray came out, and I told Murray, I said, Murray, you know, hey man, this is on you. Don't tell me what you're doing, what you're not doing. But I got inside information, man, that they're coming after you, man. You know what Murray said? Harold, I got it, baby. I appreciate it. He went on back in the restaurant, and Stays looked at me. He said, Harold, you can't do no more than that. You know, you warned him, man. And sure enough, several months later, the next thing we heard from Murray Burry, the bitch set me up. Heard all around the world. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All around the world. And Murray, I liked Murray. I mean, really, we weren't no running buddies or anything, but we knew each other. We even played tennis together. we even made bets on the Holyfield Riddick Bowe fight where I lost and I won. I had to chase him down for $1,000. It took me almost a year to chase it down. And then we bet on the second fight that Riddick Bowe won. But I had inside information that Riddick Bowe was not going to win that first fight because he was out in the streets chasing gals. He was having fun. And we knew Evander Holyfield was going to be in shape. So that's why I betted against Riddick Bowe. But the second fight, I lost. And Murray and I made a bet. He bet no more money. He said, I tell you what.
He knew better by then.
Hey, if I lose this, you be mad for a day, and I come on Inside Sports and be the host if you lose. And so, guess what? I lost. He came on Inside Sports, man, and did my show. The show there.
Wow.
Murray could have been the greatest black politician ever, man. But Murray would not listen, man. That was his thing. He would not listen. He came on Inside Sports the Monday before he was supposed to go to jail, Shannon. He walked on with my roommate, Dr. Arnold McNutt, who was my roommate at Winston-Salem football. We were roommates and teammates. And Dr. McNutt was then the DC boxing commissioner. And he came in the studio on Saturday morning with Murray. And Murray came in and he said, man, hey, I got it on tape. Hey, Harold, I should have listened to you. Yeah.
Wow.
Walked out, man. But those are the kind of things that we don't listen to each other. Now, the other warning came from a lady by the name of Jane Elliott. Now, she was a fourth grade school teacher in Iowa, in a little town called Riceville. This is what she did with her fourth grade class after Martin Luther King was assassinated. And this is what she said to her fourth grade class. Can we play that clip, Shannon?
This is a special week. Does anybody know what it is?
National Brotherhood.
National Brotherhood Week. What's brotherhood? Treat everyone as though he was your brother. And is there anyone in this United States that we do not treat as our brothers?
Yes.
Who?
The
The black people. Who else?
Indians.
Absolutely the Indians. Many places in the United States. How are black people treated? How are Indians treated? How are people who are of a different color than we are
But
treated?
they don't get anything in this world.
Why is that?
Because they're different colors.
You think you know how that would feel to be judged by the color of your skin? I don't. Do you think you do? No, I don't think you'd know how that felt unless you had been through it, would you? It might be interesting to judge people today by the color of their eyes. Would you like to try this?
Yeah!
Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Since I'm the teacher and I have blue eyes, I think maybe the blue-eyed people should be on top the first day. I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Oh, yes, they are.
They are.
Blue-eyed people are smarter than brown-eyed people. This is a fact. The brown-eyed people do not get to use the drinking fountain. You'll have to use the paper cups. You brown-eyed people are not to play with the blue-eyed people on the playground. Well, the brown-eyed people in this room today are going to wear collars so that we can tell from a distance what color your eyes are. Ready, Laurie?
Brown-eyed.
She's a brown-eyed. You'll begin to notice today that we spend a great deal of time waiting for brown-eyed people. I don't see the yardstick, do you?
It's coming over there. Hey, mister, you better keep that on your desk when the brown-eyed people get out of hand.
Oh, you think if the brown-eyed people get out of hand, that would be the thing to use? Who goes first to lunch?
Blue-eyed.
The blue-eyed people. Blue-eyed people may go back for seconds. Brown-eyed people do not.
Brown-eyed.
Don't you know?
Oh, they're not smart. And it seemed like when we were down on the bottom, everything bad was happening to us.
The way they treated you, you felt like you didn't even want to try to do anything.
It seemed like Mrs. Elliott was taking our best friends away from us.
What happened at recess? Were two of you boys fighting?
Russell called me names and I hit him in the gut.
What did he call you?
Brown eyes. They always call us that. They keep calling us brown eyes.
What's wrong with being called brown-eyed?
It means that we're stupider.
I watched what had been marvelous, cooperative, wonderful, thoughtful children turn into nasty, vicious, discriminating little third graders in a space of 15 minutes. Yesterday, I told you that brown-eyed people aren't as good as blue-eyed people. That wasn't true. I lied to you yesterday. The truth is that brown-eyed people are better than blue-eyed people. Russell, where are your glasses?
I forgot them.
You forgot them. And what color are your eyes?
Boo.
Susan Ginder has brown eyes. She didn't forget her glasses. Russell Ring has blue eyes, and what about his glasses?
He forgot them.
He forgot them. Yesterday we were visiting, and Greg said, "Boy, I like to hit my little sister as hard as I can. That's fun." What does that tell you about blue-eyed people?
They're naughty.
The brown-eyed people may take off their collars, and each of you may put your collar on a blue-eyed person. The brown-eyed people get 5 extra minutes of recess. You blue-eyed people are not allowed to be on the playground equipment. You blue-eyed people are not to play with the brown-eyed people. Brown-eyed people are better than blue-eyed people. They're smarter than blue-eyed people. And if you don't believe it, look at Brian. I use Orton Gillingham Phonics. We use the card pack. The brown-eyed children were in the low class the first day, and it took them 5.5 minutes to get through the card pack. The second day, it took them 2.5 minutes. The only thing that had changed was the fact that now they were superior people. You went faster than I've ever had anyone go through the card pack. Why couldn't you get them yesterday?
We had those collars on.
You think the collars kept you?
just keep thinking about those collars.
Oh, and you couldn't think as well with the collars on. 4 minutes and 18 seconds. How long did it take you yesterday?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. How long did it take you today?
4 minutes and 18 seconds.
What happened?
What
What were you thinking of?
this?
I hate today.
How do you do? I hate too.
Because I'm blue-eyed.
See, I am too.
There's nothing, it's not funny, it's not fun, it's not pleasant. This is a filthy, nasty word called discrimination. We're treating people a certain way because they are different from the rest of us. Is that fair?
No.
Nothing fair about it. We didn't say this was going to be a fair day, did we?
No.
And it isn't. It's a horrid day. Okay, you ready? What did you people who are wearing blue collars now find out today?
I know what they felt like yesterday. I did too.
How did they feel yesterday?
Down. Like a dog on a leash. Yeah. Like you're chaining them up into prison. Like you're shut up and you're throwing the key away.
Should the color of some other person's eyes have anything to do with how you treat them?
No.
All right, then should the color of their skin?
No.
Should you judge people by the color of their skin?
No.
When you see a black man or an Indian or someone walking down the street, are you going to say, look at that silly looking thing?
No.
Does it make any difference whether their skin is black or white?
No.
Or yellow?
No.
Or red?
No.
Is that how you decide whether people are good or bad?
No.
Is that what makes people good or bad?
No.
Now you know a little bit more than you knew at the beginning of this week?
Yes.
Okay, now are you back?
Yes.
That feel better?
Yes.
Does the color of the eyes that you have make any difference in the kind of person you are?
No, Mrs. Valley.
All right, man. That is a fantastic video. And that's why, people always, I put my emphasis when I was working out in the streets, elementary school children. They were my favorite people, man. The middle school kids, the high school kids, man, they were rough. But the little kids, man, they lean on everything that you say, man. Everything, And that's why, this Jane Elliott is still out there today, man, talking about the brown-eyed and blue-eyed people and about racism in America, man. We were forewarned. That was 1968 also, when Jane Elliott came out with the blue-eyed and brown-eyed experiment. And we still didn't learn anything about it, man. And when now, go ahead, Shannon.
No, that's amazing to, show that to the public with a whole set of white kids so that they can really get the impact and see how that difference and how that experiment can show what racism is in America.
Yeah, and Shannon, the thing about it, that was an hour. You hear what I'm saying? This was a white lady in Iowa, man, where they're not she's surrounded by white people. And she understood exactly what was going on, man. I love Jane Elliott, man. I love her, man. And we are forewarned, and we keep moving like nothing is happening. I want to go move on to sports now. I want to go to my man Dale Hansen, who was the #1 sportscaster in America. That's what he was #1. And he talks about how black coaches are being overlooked. Listen to what Dale Hansen said. Let's run that.
There we go. Perfect.
Been a lot of criticism of the Arizona Cardinals hiring Cliff Kingsbury as their new coach. Even my guys Mike and Jonah have been questioning that hire. But Kingsbury fits all the criteria to be a head coach in the NFL. He's an offensive genius. He's
Okay, Shannon, we have some technical issues. We can skip over that. And I can kind of explain exactly.
a lot of criticism of the Arizona Cardinals hiring Cliff Kingsbury as their new coach. Even my guys Mike and Jonah have been questioning that hire. But Kingsbury fits all the criteria to be a head coach in the NFL. He's an offensive genius, he's young, and he's white. And not necessarily in that order. There have been 6 new coaches hired so far, all white, and 2 coaches of color. They are replacing Stephen Wilkes, fired in Arizona after just 1 year, Vance Joseph in Denver after just 2. But Cowboys coach Jason Garrett is in his 9th year, apparently because he wins so much. A lot of people don't understand how Kingsbury can have a losing record at Texas Tech, no NFL experience, and get one of the 32 NFL jobs. But getting fired at Tech doesn't eliminate him from moving up. At least it doesn't to me. I've had 11 jobs in my life, been fired from 8 of them, and moved up every time. And I am arrogant enough to tell you, I think Channel 8 was right to give me another chance. But I am the product of white privilege in America, and I've never denied that I wasn't either. If they made a poster, my picture should be on it. Getting fired at one place and getting another chance isn't the problem. But young, talented coaches of color not getting the chance, that's a huge problem. The covert racism of the NFL ownership group was so bad, the NFL had to make a rule so that minority coaches could at least get an interview. Cowboys secondary coach Chris Richard has been interviewed, and there are reports saying he might get the Miami job. After what he's done with this Cowboys defense, how could he not? Unless it is true, what black parents have been telling their children for decades now, you have to be twice as good to go half as far. I dream of the day when those parents are wrong, because now they're not.
All right. That was Dale Hansen, the #1 sports caster in America. He was voted that, he came to Washington and received that honor. And I checked him out, and I said, God, man, this guy is using the Inside Sports format, my format.
Yeah.
And he's a caster of the year. Nobody even knows about Harold Bell, so I called him out. I said, man, you using my format, and congratulations, but you using my format. Now, he returned my call, and it will surprise you about his response. Play that, Shannon.
Harold, this is Bill Hansen in Dallas. I lost your phone number when you called the other day, and I finally had to track through your notes, and I finally found this here. Sorry I didn't get back to you, but your stuff is fantastic to read about, and everything you've done is makes my little bit appealing off the cover of white privilege, as you say, seem rather insignificant. But I thank you for sharing this with me, and hope this message gets to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, Harold has been a
Now, that is a hell of a response. I never expected that, man. But he came back and gave me my flowers. He said, you're the man.
Yes.
You're the man. But in my own community, I'm not the man. Because you know why? Because of the envy and jealousy that goes on in our community. Selfishness. And when I talk about selfishness, I don't have to go back to John Thompson and Sugar Ray Leonard and Tony Page and Adrian Branch and Kathy Hughes, James Brown. I can talk about it today, presently.
Yeah.
How you reach out to help young people and they forget who they are and where they came from. And one of those young men was a young man that came out of my Hillcrest Children's Center Saturday program. He was 10 years old when he attended my first Christmas toy party, 10 years old. Well, guess what? That same kid went on to become the first Black chief of staff on Capitol Hill for a white congressman, Jack Buchner, out of Missouri. He went on, and I didn't know. I happened to go to one of those Heritage Foundation tributes that Jack Kemp was speaking, and there was my young man in there, Lonnie Taylor. I hadn't seen him in decades. And he came up and he said to me, read that letter that I got from Lonnie Taylor after I met him at the Heritage Foundation tribute. Read what he wrote to me after we left there, Shannon.
All right, so we got here Lonnie. He said that, dear Mr. Bell, it was good seeing you at the Secretary Jack Kemp's address sponsored by the Heritage Foundation. As I started then as a former resident of the 14th and W Street area, I owe you many thanks for the things which you did on behalf of the city's youth. Believe me, Hillcrest Children's Center Saturday program often brings back fond memories. You should take pride in the fact that your example of selflessness continues in so many of us today. Thank you for all you've done and all you do. Sincerely, Lonnie P. Taylor, Chief of Staff, Jack Buchner.
Yeah, you got it. That's
wow.
a letter I received from this young brother. He appreciated everything that I've done. Now, Lonnie, we lost Lonnie about 2 years ago. He died of cancer, I think. And I never knew anything about the funeral. I knew his brother, who worked for the beer company, and I run into him every now and then, but he never got in touch with me that Lonnie had died. Well, I let it go. I let it go. And then about 2 weeks ago, as I'm preparing for this show, and I'm thinking about, the Christmas holidays and my first Christmas toy party at Hillcrest Children's Center Saturday program. And I'm thinking about Lonnie. I'm thinking about Lonnie Taylor and his brother and all the young kids that participated in that toy program. So I said, man, let me look through the archives and see what photos and stuff that I got of the kids participating in that first toy program. And I think I found some of those photos. Did you get those photos that I sent you about the Christmas toy party, Shannon, at Hillcrest?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
well, anyway, I thought about Lonnie, and I happened to I Googled his obituary, right? His obituary, his funeral. And I read the obituary, and I could not believe what I was reading.
Yeah.
Not believe what I was reading. There in his obituary, they never mentioned that he grew up on W Street Northwest in the ghetto. They never mentioned the DC public schools that he went to. They never mentioned that he was the first black chief of staff of a congressman on Capitol Hill. They never mentioned that he came out of the Hillcrest Children's Center Saturday program where he was inspired by Harold Bell. They never mentioned it. So, when I start thinking about critical race theory, how white folks are trying to implement that into our school system so they won't have to go through all our great accomplishments. Well, there are black folks who are doing the same thing. They're suppressing history. And I don't know if it was Lonnie's family or who he wrote the obituary or what, but they are denying that this young man's great history, that he grew up on W Street, man, in the heart of the ghetto, man, that he went to the DC public schools. They never mentioned that. They never mentioned that he was the first black chief of staff on the Hill. Plus, he worked for President George Bush. He was on his staff at the White House. Man, that's a hell of an accomplishment. Why are you hiding that kind of history? That's, that's my first Christmas. Lonnie and his brother are somewhere in that bunch. That guy playing Santa Claus was my teammate, George Kelly. I played for a team called the Virginia Sailors, which was an affiliate of the Washington Redskins. And George was a linebacker. And I asked him and my teammates to help me with my first Christmas toy party. And my wife, Hattie, who was teaching at Cadoza at the time, her colleagues, they chipped her co-work in to help to make that Christmas toy party, my first one. That's 1968, right there, 1968. I recognize one of those young ladies. That was Helen with the white ribbon in her hair. But those are the things, man, that when you lay the foundation, but there are our own people who overlook that history, man. They don't want to be out of the ghetto. They don't want to be first this or first that. Or maybe they don't want me to be associated with their brother. I don't understand. And what happened, I called one of my guys, Danny Lewis, who I'd known been a snitch all the time. I told Danny, I said, Danny, call Lonnie's brother and tell him I'm trying to get in touch with him. I had his number and his email address, but I lost it, everything. That was over a week ago. Danny ain't called back yet. And I already been told, the guy said, man, Danny got a thing with you. I said, what? He said, yeah, man. But that's life, man. I move on by that, just like I move on by Danny. But I wanted to point out about Lonnie Taylor and the great accomplishments and the things that we were able to do at Hillcrest Children's Center, a Saturday program that was not done all over the city at different recreation departments. We had Larry Brown and Harold McClinton. We had the Redskins, man. They talking about this Iron Man Award that they're giving out in Brian Piccolo's name that played the Chicago Bears. Well, let me tell you who the real Iron Men were. They were Larry Brown. They were Harold McClinton. They were Roy Jefferson. There was Ted Baxter. There was Lenny Moore. There was Johnny Sample. There were Willie Wood, who were working in the community before the NFL came out with We Care. And then they're promoting diversity. How you go promote diversity when you don't have no black owners? 100 years of the NFL. That's my man Harold McClinton. He played Santa Claus after George Kelly passed. And but I'm saying, how you gonna promote? There's another Iron Man, Jim Brown, with Robin Sugar Williams. I mean, I could go on and on. There's Larry Brown on the cover of Sports magazine, where he was the most valuable player in the NFL that year, led the league in rushing. Those were the kind of people that I brought to the Hillcrest Saturday program. And of course, that's Ben Shilleybo. That's another story I got to tell you about at another time. But those are the kind of people, man, that's Roy Jefferson at one of our Christmas toy parties, sitting there with the kids. All pro wide receiver, Roy Jefferson. That's right, man. We had a lot of guys, man. And that's the first NFL Films promotion nationally shot at Hillcrest Children's Center Saturday program. That's Larry Brown, that's Harold McClinton teaching inner city kids water safety. Now, how about that? Nothing that you ever knew about, or they want to publicize. And there's my man, my main man, Judge Luke Moore, who's the first modern day U.S. Marshal. Sitting behind Judge Moore is Harold McClinton. Sitting on the left, that's Dave Robinson, Hall of Famer, linebacker, who played for the Green Bay Packers and the Washington Redskins. And that's Roy Jefferson right there. They came out, man. They came out. So I am proud, man, that I was able to be a part of this. That's at Union Station. We were gathering toys to send down to North Carolina, where one town was flooded and we did a toy party down there. That's my wife on the left. That's Roy Jefferson, and that's Lenny Moore and his wife. That's Lawrence Wade of Eastern High School, and that's my main man there, Burt Randolph Sugar, boxing historian. We all gathered at Union Station to send toys and clothes to North Carolina, man. So yeah, it's been a ride, and there's the Iron Man Jim Brown with a toy drive party at the Hyatt Regency with some kids, and yeah, it's been a thing, man. Jim Brown again, there he is, and that's my man Lenny Moore, Spats they call him, number 24, one of the greatest running backs to ever play in the NFL. All these guys came out, man. Now, here's a story right here that blows my mind. This story right here, let me tell you about this story here. That young man on the left is William Poochie Butler. He came out of the Hillcrest Children's Center Saturday program. He came from Harrison Playground, Harrison Elementary. And that's his wife, Nelby there. And that's his son, Prince. Now, years later, Poochie contacted me to come check out his son. William asked me to come check his son out, who was playing football in high school in Virginia. He was getting ready, to go to college, and they asked me to come check him out, and to assist him. Well, man, this boy was already a star when I got there, so I ain't do nothing. They had already groomed this kid. I watched him. I got film of him that I sent to other colleges, man, letting them know about Prince. And of course, they end up going to the University of Alabama, where he was a walk-on. He didn't get a scholarship. They took a risk, man, and went to the University of Alabama. He made the team. They redshirted him, and he graduated last year with a degree in business. Graduated.
Wow.
Then he goes back to play another 5th year on the Alabama football team, right? Well, they had an up and down year, but they got lucky, man. They got lucky. They were not supposed to win I think the ACC that they in, or was it SEC, whatever that conference, they were not supposed to win it. They got crushed by was it Auburn or Georgia that crushed them? Shannon, you remember? It was 38. It was it was 30 to score.
I believe it was Georgia.
Okay, Georgia crushed them 38-7. So man, their bold hopes are crushed. That hey man, they're not going anywhere. But guess what? They played for the championship. And they beat Georgia. Was it Georgia they beat, Santa?
They came back, yeah.
Came back down from 17 points to beat Georgia. And guess what? Now they're going to the Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl, one of the biggest sports activities during the holidays. They're going to play the number 1 team, Indiana Hoosiers. And last week, who did we have? We had
Scott Agnes.
We had Scott Agnes on the show, who covers the Indiana Hoosiers. He's the number 1 guy in Indiana, so he's gonna be there. But what blows my mind, I got this show, my podcast. His father knows that I got a new podcast. Now, they've been off 2 Saturdays. This brother don't even contact me. Hey, Harold, can Neville and I come on? I think, Prince could be tied up. Give you 5 or 10 minutes, man, to let you know our son is going to the Rose Bowl. That's a big story. Now, if Muhammad Ali got time to call Harold Bell after one of the biggest fights in his career, he thinks to call me, but there they are that's Poochie and William at the Miracle Theater with my lovely aunt, I'm celebrating 100 years. Arnie Lane in the red, right there, standing in front of me. That on your right, that's Poochie and his son Prince up on the stage. This is 2019. You know, I'm giving them all kind of play. You know, one of my kids, I'm proud of him. You think
Right.
you contact me to be on my show for 5 minutes today? The game is not till next week. You can't spare 5 minutes. And this blows my mind when I stop and think about how selfish we are. How selfish, and this is a good example.
Another, yeah, facts.
Lonnie Taylor, and now William Poochie Butler. Let me show you who William's grandfather was, who was my mentor. Will you run that tape showing who his grandfather is and who Prince's great grandfather? My main man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is
Absolutely.
I don't know where they get this tape selfish thing from, man. But I'm gonna move on by.
When people think of the WWE Hall of Fame, what it means to you can vary. To some, it's an elite group of some of the greatest and most iconic performers in the rich history of not just WWE, but wrestling as a whole. For others, it's just a way for Vince McMahon to reward people he likes. And for others still, it's just another way for Vince McMahon to make money off of the accomplishments of others. But for almost 30 years, there's been one inductee that has polarized wrestling fans. For almost 30 years, James Dudley has been the proof that anyone can be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. He was Vince's chauffeur. Well, I would make the argument that very few early WWE employees would be more deserving than James Dudley. Current WWE CEO Vincent Kennedy McMahon once said that without James Dudley, there would be no WWF. So let's talk about Mr. Dudley and accomplishments that led him to be enshrined into the WWE Hall of Fame. James Dudley was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1910. Not much is known about his youth other than he was reportedly a fantastic track and field athlete. Supposedly, he ran a 100-yard dash in under 10 seconds on multiple occasions. In 1924, at the age of 14, he showed up to try out for the U.S. Olympic team, but was turned away. It's not fully known if it was because of his age or his race. In 1937, he joined baseball's Negro League, playing catcher for the Baltimore Elite Giants, where he would play for 8 years. He would retire from baseball in 1945, just 2 years before Jackie Robinson broke the Major League Baseball color barrier. At some point in the late 1940s, he began to work odd jobs for Jess McMahon. Over time, he became a friend and confidant of Vince McMahon Sr., having a multitude of duties, everything from ticket taker and counter to manager at ringside for Bobo Brazil, but also, yes, driving Vince Sr.'s limo when he was in Baltimore or Washington, D.C. In 1953, Vince McMahon Sr. began running Capitol Wrestling and then WWF events at the Turner Arena in Washington, D.C. James Dudley started there, taking tickets and other various duties on show nights. By 1956, Vince Sr.'s promotion was growing so rapidly that he needed some help at his home base, the Turner Arena. This was when he entrusted it to the care of James Dudley, making Mr. Dudley the first black man to oversee an arena in the U.S. While Mr. Dudley didn't recall any tension around the promotion based on his race, he did get some ribbing based on his bond with Vince Sr. He recalled in an interview in 2002, "They didn't like that I always said that Vince treated me like I was his own son, and I felt like he was my father. One guy finally said, 'Okay, Dudley, you say he's like your father? So what if you walk into the lobby of the arena and there's 2 fights going on, one with Vince, the other with your real father. Who are you going to help out first?' Well, I thought about the question a minute, then I told him, If that happened, first I'd run up to my real father and I'd say, "Hold on, Pops, I'll be back in a minute." With James Dudley overseeing D.C., Vince Sr. was able to focus on expanding his business throughout the Northeast. Their relationship would continue through the late 1970s when Vince Jr. took on more responsibilities. The Turner Arena was torn down, and James Dudley retired. Legend has it that in 1984, when Vince K. McMahon took over the WWF from his ailing father, Vince Sr. made one request of his son, telling him, "Whatever you do, take care of James Dudley." So Vince did just that. He put Mr. Dudley back on the payroll at the age of 74, sending him 2 checks every month for the rest of his life. In 1994, Mr. Dudley was inducted into the first full WWF Hall of Fame class, introduced by Vince McMahon himself. He was enshrined with other early WWF pillars such as Gorilla Monsoon, Classy Freddie Blassie, and his old friend Bobo Brazil. And WWE SmackDown came to Washington, D.C.'s MCI Center in January of 2002.
Okay, Shannon, you can cut it. I know we're about to run out of time, but I just wanted to show you that history. James Dudley was my mentor. You know what I'm saying? Turner's Arena turned out to be the Hillcrest Children's Center Saturday program. Mr. Dudley lived directly across the street from the program. When I had to play football on the weekends, because I was getting paid with the Virginia Sailors, I wasn't going to give that up. Mr. Dudley would come over and make sure everything was going all right in the Saturday program. My brother couldn't be there. Andrew Johnson, my friend, both of them were cops. Mr. Dudley made sure everything was run right. Now, Mr. Dudley is Poochie Butler's grandfather. Where did he lose it? I don't understand it. Where did he lose it? You understand?
Yeah.
When they ran me off the air, Shannon, when they came after me and had my responses reneged on my sponsorship at WST, and I was out there, Mr. Dudley would call me, tell me to meet him uptown and put a few dollars in my pocket,
Yeah.
And he was a great human being, but I don't know where he lost it. Wherever he lost it, Poochie keep it. Because I'm gonna keep on moving, man. But you need to take a look at, who this affects. It affects your son. It affects Elvie, because they got to see there they are right there. They're down in Alabama. He is looking like not a 17 or 18-year-old, but a full-grown man. There they are. How can you forget, man? I know Mr. Dudley looking down and turning over in his grave, man. I don't understand it. That's why I don't get really. I guess that's what God has kept me here, man, because you got to keep it moving, man. We cannot keep putting these crooks in office over and over again. They're not going to do anything for your children. They're not going to do anything for your children. I know who they are. They don't come through me. All these guys you see having any kind of success in sports media, James Brown, Kathy Hughes, David Aldridge, Kevin Blackstone, you name them, man. Tony Page, John Thompson. They came directly through Harold Bell. And this girl right here, I don't know what her problem is. I guess what she did, she really played Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock. I'm talking about Monica McNutt. She gets an opportunity to go on ESPN. But I knew her before she got to ESPN. She came through Round Ball Report, where none of them would have been able to get press credentials unless they came through me, and I had to go through the NBA office, a friend of mine up there, to tell the Wizards, give these people at the Round Ball Report press credentials to attend the game. And she was one of those. She was like a church mouse. She was so quiet, you didn't even know she was around. Now she's raising hell on ESPN. More power to her. But why you go after the white girl that make you look like a racist? Huh? I don't understand that. Stephen A. Smith has been a fraud, but he's getting $100 million, and maybe you want part of that $100 million, hollering and screaming. Now, anytime I go along with Jason Whitlock, when he's talking about somebody, something is wrong, because I don't agree with Jason on anything. That's Monica McNutt. That's Christy Winter Scott. all of them got press credentials, got a chance to take it to the next level because of Harold Bell. If anybody know any difference, come on my show anytime. Come on this show and tell me different. Shannon, I know we're running out of time. How much time we got left, brother?
We got well, yeah, I mean it's an hour right now.
Okay, well, let's ready to get out of here. We want to keep it at an hour. I know you got something that you like to take us out of here, Shannon, as a young person and what you have seen so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just like you was, saying, with the Butler thing, even Vince McMahon made sure that James Dudley was taken, care of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it should be the same way for you, even with, today's show. But yeah, we got to stick together. We got to work together. And I just noticed that everybody is separate and trying to, do their own thing when collectively we make more of an impact, with your legacy and what you've built and what you've done over time. You've always looked out for the people who were overlooked, the people who didn't get the recognition. You created this industry and modernized it so well that it's $1 billion industry today.
That's right.
And that credit deserves, that credit deserves to be given to you. No matter what research I do on sports talk, on sports affiliation with radio and the way things are done, it all boils back to you. You were the blazer in this industry. And we have to start recognizing our legends, our legacy, and making sure that we keeping that alive and making sure that the youth get to see their people in a good light. Because as you see the news, they always just giving us the bad, the bad, the bad, the bad, but they rarely see all of the good, the good, the good, the good, and making sure that that resonates through our community continuously so that the credit can go where it needs to go. So that way you can handle the success without the success handling you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Shannon. And looking forward to being back here next Saturday. I want you and everyone else to have a happy new year and be safe. Be safe. Until next time, I'm Harold Bell, and believe me that every black face you see is not your brother or sister, and every white face is not your enemy. I'm gone.
Summer 65 right now, he ran the lane, voice of the city, part of the game. Decades change, but the message stays same. Harold Bell, put respect on his name. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. From the OG days to the year 25. Truth on the mic, keep the legacy alive. To balance, hit the net, run wild. But Hell kept the same flame he had since a child. Kids in trouble, still popping, 40 years deep. He saved more futures than half the elites. Go bounce, crank that beat. Bell in the pocket like Congos on 14. Players, coaches, whole city show love.